Good morning. On behalf of the Rescuing Our Communities initiative to empower and really just educate people on the idiocy, of racism and oppression within local communities, I am Clayton here as your host and narrator on it on today, which should be a pretty interesting live cast. Just give me 1 second, people, to set up my things. I'm a little behind this morning. I went running, and Saturday is usually a really long run day for me. I try to run at least an hour, hour and a half. So I got a good run in. I feel great. This should be a great live cast. Last night, about 3 o'clock in the morning, just a side note, I woke up because, my spirit was kind of heavy, people. Sometimes I wake up in the night, especially since I stopped doing drugs and smoking weed and drinking. Um, I don't sleep the same way like I used to. I can honestly confess when I smoked weed, I would sleep from probably 10 o'clock to maybe 6 o'clock in the morning. Since I stopped, I might sleep in 3 hour increments and then I'm up. Um, and I'm really just up with a troubled spirit, people, because there's a lot on my heart, there's a lot in my mind, and I really feel like there's something I can do. Hold on, NYPD. I have to put this title up. I really feel like there's something I can do as a private citizen with the ability to fight for what he believes in to kind of stop the oppression of a community to which I grew up in that I know is covertly racist. And this is just the truth of the situation. So now that we have that taken care of, I'm back. So we're going to start this podcast off with something different. I saw a video last night that really troubled me, people. So I'm going to go to my Facebook page just to post it. There we go. Hold on. Just give me 1 second to share the screen.
Erwin, back up. Erwin, back up. Erwin, back up. Back up, Erwin. Erwin, back up, nigga.
I want to start this from the beginning.
What's he doing? Back up, Erwin. Erwin, back up. Erwin, back up. Erwin, back up. Back up, Erwin. Erwin, back up, nigga. Yo, back up.
You bum ass nigga. Yo, get off me like that, nigga. No fucking reason. Yo, got shit to do.
That nigga's just bored. Bald-headed bitch.
Yo, chill, bro. Don't bring it on, nigga. Chill.
Yo, back up, Erwin. Erwin, back up. Oh, what are you blocking her up for? Yo, he's a kid, bro. He's a kid, bro. He's a kid, bro. He's a kid. Yo, he's a kid. Yo, he's a kid. Yo, why you slapping him for?
Yo, my nigga.
Yo, he's a kid, bro. He's a kid. He's not trying to get in. They gonna start grabbing everyone, bro. Start grabbing everyone.
God, yeah, niggas are worried, bro. He's a little ass kid, bro.
That's a lawsuit. Get your money. Get your money. You heard?
I got worried, my nigga.
Oh, y'all need to be sure. Get that lawsuit, bro. Get that money. Niggas is pussy, bro. Half of these niggas ain't even from out here, bro. That's what they be moving.
SRG, transport this guy back?
Now I'm going to explain why this video bothers me so much. That video really bothers me. Now I know some people may see that video, and unfortunately when you deal with urban areas, you deal with a less intelligent population base. Ebonics is something that black people just use. So you hear a lot of the word, you bald-head nigga, you this, you that. Ignorance gets you nowhere when you're dealing with an oppressive system and a racist institution like the NYPD. Because this is how they want you to act. They want you to be what you see in this video. So true, even though we may see that video and we see that there's some sort of conflict going on there where the police are arresting these people. It looks like they're just arresting the woman because she's telling them that they're wrong. The kid, they had no real reason to body slam because all he was doing was recording it. And from what I found out, that's his mother. So of course he's going to try to go and get his mother's bag. She told him to get her bag. But when you deal with a community like Staten Island, what you're dealing with is you're not actually dealing with a fair and just judicial system. Um, you're dealing with a law enforcement body that has been trained and ordered by the top law enforcement officer, Michael Mcmahon, to oppress urban communities. This is the objective of Michael McMahon. This is his overall strategy. He uses sellouts within the black community to make himself appear as though he's not racist. Um, but the truth is, he's horribly racist, people. He is a covert racist because he can't be directly racist. Racism is no longer acceptable and cool. Racism is not something that a white man can openly confess to not liking black people. He can't do that because he needs the black vote. How he enforces his racist policies and agenda is by enforcing them in prosecutions and by directives to the NYPD of Staten Island. Now, I personally know this because I was the victim of a domestic violence offense. Unlike these people, I was completely respectful. I was a gentleman and I had the complete legality of the state behind me. Because so Mike McMahon's initiative is to make every black person who comes before law enforcement in Staten Island an offender, he could not allow that to happen. So what he did was order a detective by the name of Joseph Quirk to falsify a criminal complaint against me so I would be charged, listed in the system as a defendant in a domestic violence dispute. And then I would be denied access to services like advocates and people who could have helped me expose the fact that my ex was lying. While he was prosecuting me allegedly for stalking her, even though they had no proof I ever did anything to this woman. I had just won a trial against her. People, there is a massive conspiracy in Staten Island to deprive minorities of their civil rights. And when I posted that video, you should see the disgusting comments the white people of Staten Island make. And I'm going to say it just like that. Because all the people who are making comments justifying the police are white people. White people like the fact when they see police do shit like that to black people. They love it. Not all of them. Don't get me wrong. All white people are not racist. But Staten Island has a large covert population of racist Caucasians. And every black person on Staten Island who watches my broadcast, you know I'm right. Even if you don't live in Staten Island, let's say you grew up there, you went to high school, you may have lived there for a year or two. Even if you drove through Staten Island and you've ever encountered the police, the racism of these officers oozes through their pores and their bald heads, because most of them are bald heads. They like a bald head as cops. I believe that's the secret association of skinhead police on Staten Island. It is an unfortunate occurrence when you deal with the community of Staten Island, when you see such racial oppression and the mistreatment of minorities, and that the overall population, which consists of the white side of Staten Island, enjoys it. See, the reason more people don't speak out against McMahon is because here's the truth. The Caucasian population of Staten Island supports McMahon because he keeps the niggas in line. And the black population of Staten Island, the same dynamic, I want to say, during the plantation years, realize they need to be close to the master. So they sell out the other slaves on the plantation just for a position in the house, like house Negroes. Now, who are these house Negroes I speak about? Victor Allen Brown. He's the biggest house Negro on Staten Island. We have Bobby Digi. We have Malcolm Penn. We have Mike Perry. We have men who on Staten Island who would sell their mother out for a picture next to Michael McMahon. And I think that is truly disgusting that as a community, as individuals, we allow this racist man and these messed up, disgusting skinhead police to do things like this in our community. We can come together when there's a problem, people. We can come together. Like I saw a lot of people come together for the death of Eric Garner. And the death of Eric Garner was unfortunate because, like what you saw in that video, that's what happened. See, people, Eric Garner was resisting arrest and he was standing up for him. He was standing his ground in resisting arrest. Eric Garner was on private property that he did not own, selling cigarettes to which he was not licensed for. So yes, he did commit a crime and he did deserve to be detained if he was he was refusing to move. But did he deserve all of the unnecessary force that was exhibited on him by the NYPD? Clearly not, because he ultimately ended up dying for it. And what you see in that video is pretty much a recreation of exactly what happened to Eric Garner. The only difference is none of those minorities died. See, the thing is about Caucasian white people, it's okay when they watch the police beat up and abuse black people. But it's not okay when it dies because now it exposes their racism. So they can't support the fact that a black person is killed by the police, but they will support it if we're beaten, if we're mistreated, if we're falsely arrested, if we're maliciously prosecuted. They support all of that. But as covert racists, the whites of Staten Island cannot support the death of a black man. And this is when they stand with us. This is the only time they stand with us. They will never stand with us for a video like I just put up there that shows the police clearly using too much force on a person who is already restrained. That is not the point of law enforcement, people. The kid had a phone, which they could clearly see it was a phone, people. They knew this kid didn't have no gun to pick him up, body slam him, and do all of that. See, that's these coward white officers who like to jump minorities because the truth is a lot of them are pussies who grew up not being able to fight. So what they do is because they were punked and bitched their entire high school careers is they become cops to try to get the authority that they could not individually get as men when they interacted in the streets or in school or wherever the hell they were doing before they were cops. I'm not against all police, believe it or not, people. I'm actually, in the last 3 or 4 years of my life, I want to say that I have gained a new understanding of law enforcement that has allowed me to respect the enemy. Law enforcement is a two-edged sword, audience. Law enforcement is both an enemy and I want to say an enemy and somewhat of a friend to the community. Because law enforcement's job is to regulate crime and protect the community to make the streets safe for people to walk and enjoy simple life without fearing crime or something would happen to them. Law enforcement, however, crime is a dirty game. I'll be honest. And sometimes law enforcement officers have to get dirty in order to win the game. I totally understand that. I totally understand when you may be in the streets of an urban area and you have to deal with people who may have guns, who may not have any respect for you as an individual. Their lives are on the line just like the guys in the streets' lives on the line. I totally respect the power dynamic and the need for law enforcement to do its job and impose the law on a community. But when it comes to a point where that imposition is oppressive, when it harms people, when it maliciously prosecutes people and falsely detains the wrong people, there's a problem in law enforcement. I'm not going to spend a bunch of time on that, but I felt it was kind of good to jump into because the comments that I got in this one group of Staten Island has totally revealed to me the truth that Staten Island is still highly covertly racist. And it's unfortunate that black people and minorities, I'm not even going to make it just black people because I'm black. I like to phrase things towards the black community because I'm a black man, and I would hope that the black community would stick together when there's oppression in its community. But let's just be honest, people. Black people are the most unloyal ethnic group on the fucking planet. We have no loyalty to each other, people. We will betray each other for 30 pieces of silver and a fucking hamburger, people. Black people have no loyalty to each other. We will betray each other for position, for connections, for whatever it takes to get us out of the field into the house with the slave master. And it is disgusting that a community as rich with black ministry and black culture as Staten Island does not have one person who will stand against the oppression of Michael Mcmahon. Even these so-called powerful black men like Victor Allen Brown, who sucks Michael McMahon's dick just to stand next to him and do fucking police investigations, clearly where he's not a cop, people. And I'm gonna say this because I know the truth of the matter is Victor Allen Brown is a complete sellout, people. Complete sellout. He has no true purpose in the community other than to manipulate black people into believing that he's for them so he can use that manipulation and our numbers collectively behind him to grant him the power within the community to negotiate with Mike McMahon, the biggest racist on Staten Island, and further increase his power. And people, I'm not with it. I'm going to keep fighting against this oppressive system, even if I happen to be the only black man who does it. So what, people? Eventually, somebody will pick on. I realize that my fight is bigger than Staten Island. So a handful of black advocates on Staten Island who choose not to address the actual truths of what I'm saying, I'm going to say this right now. You guys can all go to hell. See, the truth is you're all sellouts. And I'm going to name you Ronti Olagunki, Malcolm Penn, Mike Perry, Bobby Digi. Y'all niggas are sellouts. Y'all don't care about nothing but yourself and how you look within the community so you can scheme on other men's girls. Because the truth is, y'all niggas are so lame, y'all don't even get no damn girls. So people, this is my public call out of these guys who claim to be for the community when shit like that is happening in the streets of Stapleton and Park Hill. Where's your rally? Huh? Why is there no microphone now like stop police brutality? See, people, the only time they step forward is when a kid is killed because they know the attention of that kid getting killed is going to get them recognition in the community. But when you see videos like this of cops beating 15-year-old kids, nobody steps up. The only person who says something is Clayton Howard. Where's all of these black advocates who care so much for the community, people? I'm going to tell you where they're at. They're scared to speak against Mike McMahon because they need a picture with him. They need to appear to have some sort of power. And to me, I say they're pathetic and they're not even excuses for men. It is disgusting to have watched that video and know things like this are going on Staten Island, but not hear anything from your supposed black community who cares so much about the rights of black people on Staten Island. Get the fuck out of here, people. These guys is jokes. They really are, people. There is a massive conspiracy between the NYPD and the Richmond County DA's office to violate the civil rights of minorities in the community. Now, I can't talk about everybody's situation because I don't know everybody's situation. The only person's situation that Clayton can speak about is Clayton. And I can show you what has happened to me on Staten Island, where officers were completely complicit in my framing. How I was completely denied access to resources, even though the NYPD knew I was the legitimate victim, and so did the NYPD's office. So did the Richmond County DA's office. What they did was conspire to ignore my complaints to internal affairs because, see, internal affairs is funny, people. The NYPD is a fucking bias. The most corrupt organization in the city is the NYPD. They have the IAB division, Internal Affairs Bureau, excuse me, and they're supposed to investigate police misconduct. But let me tell you what they do, people. The IAB is not a select unit like you think. What they'll do is they'll send the investigation to a local cop on Staten Island. Now, a local cop on Staten Island is part of the brotherhood of NYPD on Staten Island. Do you really think they're going to investigate another officer they may run into? Fuck no, people. They dismiss every IAB complaint against any officer on Staten Island. Now, Joseph Quirk falsified a criminal complaint against me. When you file a complaint with IAB, they have to call you as the complainant to interview to initiate and investigate the case. People, I try to find out what happened to my IAB complaints on Detective Joseph Quirk. People, they were closed as unsubstantiated. I was never called. How did you close out an investigation to a complainant who has falsely been arrested multiple times and is suing you for millions of dollars, and you've never contacted him to get his side of what happened or any proof that he has to substantiate this officer falsified a criminal complaint against him? I'll tell you why, people. Because a sergeant on Staten Island investigated Joseph Quirk, and sticking with his brother in blue, he dismissed my allegations so Joseph Quirk wouldn't get in trouble. Because, see, he knew Joseph Quirk falsified a complaint against me. People, it's fucking obvious, people. It's obvious if a party comes into a precinct and makes a complaint that says one thing, and then the criminal complaint charges a person with things that happened a year before that police report. What the fuck are you doing, people? Clearly, this complaint was manipulated to keep this guy in jail. And people, my attorneys see that, people. Civil court sees that. The NYPD has offered me multiple settlements for this case that I'm involved in now because they know the legality of the NYPD, the lawyers, the civil attorneys, the I forgot what it is, the legal department of the NYPD. They know that Staten Island violated my civil rights. They know it. But the officers on Staten Island are so corrupt, they have to stick together in order to protect themselves because they can't allow one officer to get in trouble for racially violating another because then it would expose the entire corrupt system of law enforcement on Staten Island, which selectively prosecutes people, which selectively grants people their rights as victims, even though they may legally have been granted by it already. No, Staten Island can't give minorities their actual victim rights, especially if they're men. What they'll do is conspire to have those victim rights mitigated by falsifying criminal complaints, by ignoring them on the advocacy level, by turning the advocacy level against them, because an advocate is supposed to advocate to the district attorney's office for you. Now, if the district attorney's office controls the advocate, he controls the main tool a private citizen would have to expose misconduct within the NYPD or a party who is lying to the district attorney. And this is what happened to me when the district attorney's office conspired to arrest and prosecute me for the liar who is Francyna Evins, who had already been found guilty of violating the New Jersey Prevention of Domestic Violence Act 4 days before she filed a fraudulent complaint against me and alleged that the day she was convicted, I allegedly called her. She had no proof, people. She didn't even have a phone record to substantiate it, people, because again, a phone call was never made to her. But guess what? She was after a black man that this racist piece of shit Michael Mcmahon didn't like. See, people, Michael McMahon has been after me for years, violating my civil rights. And maybe I was angry. I was dealing with the death of my mother, people. I was just trying to recover, people. Like, I was really close to my mother. So finding her dead on her bedroom floor, people, I got to be honest, it messed me up. It put me in a position where The person I was before her death had practically been destroyed, people. I was a broken person after finding my mother dead. Many people may have saw me moving around, but you don't know what I was going through when I was by myself, crying for hours while I was asleep, people losing nights of sleep. I believe that's probably why I smoked so much weed, because I was just trying to null out the pain that I was feeling from what I was going through. And you would think this community of Staten Island, where my mother served and gave so much of herself, would have realized that, people. You would have think that the man who calls himself my mother's brother wouldn't have attacked me during my grief because he was sexually attracted to my bullshit ass ex girlfriend, people. Nah, that's not what happened, people. See, they saw me in grief and they saw that as an opportunity to attack me because I was weak. Because that's what weak men do. They attack you when you're at your weakest. They come at you when they know you're not capable of engaging in them and creating the strength within yourself to stand up against them. And this is exactly what happened to me when Staten Island decided to make war on me for Francyna Evins. But see, they fucked up, people. They should have aimed for the head. They should have definitely aimed for the head, people, but they didn't. And because they didn't aim for the head, I am here today before you, and I will be here every opportunity I get. Eventually, I'll be in the streets of Staten Island, and my mission is to expose the corrupt institution of law enforcement in Staten Island. That includes the black advocates who sell out the community for personal favors with the racist Klan member who is Mike McMahon. Because that's what we're dealing with, people. We're dealing with racism. We're not dealing with true criminal justice here. We're not dealing with fairness and equality in the legal system. No. We are simply dealing with the racist agenda of a corrupt politician and racist skinhead police who have been operating in Staten Island in secret gangs for years. People, there are gangs in the NYPD. And believe it or not, if you do some research, you'll find out I'm right. The NYPD and the LAP is notorious for having sexed gangs of police officers in there that commit crimes and violate civil rights. The NYPD has been called on this a bunch of times, people, but it's protected by the institution of law enforcement because if the people at large found out that the NYPD and law enforcement agencies did this, it would totally destroy public opinion in the police force, and they don't want that. They need you guys to trust them. They need you guys they need to make you guys feel as though they're keeping you safe. And to an extent they are keeping you safe while they violate the rights of other people, believing that they should violate the masses in order to collect the few. No, people. You can't randomly go out and shit on every black person in an urban community hoping you catch the right guys. That was the point of stop and frisk, people. You know what? We're going to harass every nigga we see on the street, and eventually we're going to catch some of these kids with drugs. But what about all the kids you didn't catch with drugs, that you falsely arrested, that you beat up, that you did all of these things to? You know what happened to those kids, people? They were ignored until enough people came together about what was happening to minorities with stop and frisk in New York City, the horrible civil rights violations that the NYPD and prosecutors were doing, knowing that the police were violating civilian rights. That's when enough people came together to stop the practices of stop and frisk, which were totally decimating the urban community. Today, we're going to play some recordings, people. We're going to play some recordings that show that detail where you can hear, excuse me, how officers in the NYPD knew my ex-girlfriend was stalking me, but did nothing about it. We're going to start off today with Detective De Palma, because Detective De Palma is the asshole who arrested me for allegedly threatening my ex-girlfriend outside of the Richmond County Court. Now, people, outside of the Richmond County Court, there's at least 50 cameras. Every inch of this courthouse is covered by surveillance cameras. But do you think Detective De Palma elected to review the footage of those cameras before he arrested me? Nah, I was just another nigga with a charge on him. So Detective De Palma arrested me anyway, even though the NYPD had just dismissed a false complaint against me with the same woman a week before that. They didn't care, people, because there was a charge against a black man they wanted to prosecute. So this skinhead racist detective arrested me anyway, people, even though he knew that I was innocent. And that's why he refused to check the charges. I mean, the cameras. So I'm going to play Detective De Palma, and we're going to play several detectives, and then we're going to review the things that they've said in these live casts. Here's Detective De Palma.
Complaint, you may call 311 or select from the following options.
Wait while I transfer you.
Good evening, good afternoon, De Palma. This is Mr. Howard. How have you been?
Good, how are you?
I'm okay, sir. So I did speak to my attorney today. I'm just trying to get some clarification. We had that unfortunate incident a couple of weeks ago. I was detained. I've been told by two of my attorneys that you guys now know I did not threaten her from the footage outside the courthouse.
Okay.
So he's telling me that you guys are going to prosecute additional files.
You're breaking up. I can't hear you.
So
He told you what?
He told me that you said the DA's office is telling you not to investigate either of us. They're just going to let it go.
Mr. Howard, you have to take this up with the district attorney's office.
I'm just trying to find out if that's what they said to you. Is that legitimate? They told
if you want to come in and make a police report, you can do that, and then we'll investigate that one.
Here's my
but
problem.
you have to take this up with the ADA's office.
Sir, hear me out. I did the day you released me. You know what happened? That report disappeared. They can't find it. I got the pink copy, but no one can find the report. This is the 5th time it's happened in the precinct. I get it.
Do you have a report number?
No, because they never gave it one. I just have a pink copy. They never gave me a report number. It disappeared.
It should be on the pink copy.
I've abandoned my child.
It's on the pink copy. Where is it on the pink copy?
Give me 1 second. Let me check.
Sure, please.
Abandoned my child. Very good.
Should be at the top on section A. Should be the top right. Incident number.
Incident number? Let me pull over and look. Get there. Nothing there. It's blank. How about this? You got an email address?
I do, yes.
Can I have it, please? I'll send you a copy of it.
I mean, I believe you. Email me then.
I would love to know what happened to that report, because if this happens every time I file a report, as you can see, this is why I keep getting detained and she keeps getting away with it, because no one ever prosecutes her. Her case is...
Well, I mean, now, so you, whatever your attorney advised you to do, you have to do that and then be guided by the ADA's office.
He's telling me to keep complaining on you guys. I'm going to be honest, DePalma. I don't want to do that. It makes me look like an asshole to keep calling IA for something that's this simple when the girl is doing this much stuff we can prove is being done. I get it. It's not the NYPD. You guys can only do so much without the DA. But something has to be done if my reports are disappearing. What's that email address?
I mean, yeah, that's something that has to be done with downstairs. I mean, they take the report downstairs and then it gets generated up to us.
No problem. What's your email address?
Matthew.depalma@nypd.org.
Matthew.depalma@nypd.org?
Correct.
And DePalma is DEPALMA?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll send you a copy. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak to me, sir.
Bye.
Now, people, you hear that broadcast? Because I'm perceived to be such a disrespectful, uneducated nigga. But every conversation I play to you, I'm speaking to the NYPD officers, these men with respect. Every conversation I've ever played for you, I'm speaking to these men and women with respect. But they want you to think that I was just this disrespectful, uncooperative guy. See, that's the manipulation and the lies of these racist scumbag detectives on Staten Island. That man arrested me, like I told you before I played the recording, for allegedly threatening Francyna Evins outside of the Richmond County Family Court. Mind you, people, there's over 50 cameras outside the court. This racist skinhead piece of shit, all he had to do was go to those cameras, which the 120 precinct totally has access to, and see if I threatened Francyna. But no, people, he just needed a collar to arrest a nigga because he's a racist skinhead piece of shit. Let's go forward to another video, people, because like I'm telling you, Staten Island is highly racist, and I am on a mission to expose these assholes for the piece of shits they are, people, because that's exactly what they are.
And then how I can help you moving forward.
Honestly, it's not really much you guys can do. I just want the respect that I'm supposed to.
Now, this recording, I should probably tell you, is Lieutenant. Hold on, let me make sure I'm right. This recording is a Lieutenant Delbato of the 120 precinct who called me about another complaint that I put in against the NYPD because my police reports were disappearing against my ex. And people, this is the God's honest truth. I have multiple reports that disappeared out of the 120 to avoid arresting Francyna Evins for violating a final restraining order because Mike McMahon was protecting her. All of this is in my civil suit. So this is Detective Delbato, people. My mission is showing you these recordings and allowing you, to hear these recordings, is to hear the NYPD admit to the criminal activity of my ex and to the fact that the DA's office is my problem. See, people, what they did was they kind of played a back and forth game where the NYPD would blame the district attorney and the district attorney would blame the cops. The district attorney would tell me the police have to enforce the order, but the police would enforce the order and the district attorney would drop the charges. It was a massive conspiracy at all levels, people. They locked me out of the advocates who could have reached out to the district attorney and told them, wait a minute, this guy is innocent. And people, if you think I'm lying, remember the recording of Mackenzie Upshaw. Mackenzie Upshaw, in the recording I played, I believe it was in episode 92, told me flat out on the phone that I was the victim and I should have never been arrested. This is a Richmond County Safe Horizon district attorney advocate who knew that I was innocent because she saw the paperwork months before the NYPD effectuated its arrest for Francyna Evins against me. But what happened, people? She cut off rank with me and refused to speak to me, even though she knew the NYPD false arrested me and that office was maliciously prosecuting me. This is the true injustice of Staten Island. The racism and the discrimination and the conspiracy to deprive minority men of their rights between the NYPDs and the Richmond County DA's office and their advocates who happen to be more concerned with their jobs than the rights of the people that they are from the same community as. Let's continue. This is Lieutenant Delbato.
Get as the victim with this order of protection, which your precinct will not give me. My ex-girlfriend seems to be incredibly politically connected on Staten Island with regard to law enforcement, police, prosecutors, whatever. She's used your precinct and its officers as a vehicle of revenge to have me falsely arrested over the last year multiple times. I've come in, I've provided proof, I've provided statements, I've provided video. I can't seem to sit down with one cop from the DV unit. I've never actually been interviewed by one officer from the DV unit, and I've had multiple violations against this woman. And I really don't know what's wrong with Sergeant Milroy. I don't know what makes him make the decision of my credibility, considering I have a trial order that gave me...
I want to pause there a second to tell you who Sergeant Milroy is. Sergeant Milroy is the DV sergeant in the 120 precinct. People, I'm telling you, the 120 precinct was completely complicit in violating my civil rights and destroying criminal cases against Francyna Evins by destroying the complaints I filed against her. By misclassifying them, people, they did all of this, and I can prove it.
The right to be left alone. And
did
that's why...
Did he actually reach out at all?
He did one time. He reached out to me. He kind of told me he was going to look into the events and call me back. He never did. I reached out several times after that, and I've never been called back.
Okay. Now, you had a case with a precinct detective squad. Did they reach out to you?
No. They actually, I'm lying. They did reach out to me. They reached out. They asked me what was going on. They told me they would contact me back, and then I never heard from them again. Whenever I call
people, this is the truth. Every time I was calling internal affairs and trying to get answers to my valid IAB complaints, they would listen to me on the phone and say, you know what, Mr. Howard, this is incredibly troubling. We'll call you back. People, they saw evidence that Joseph Quirk falsified a criminal complaint against me, and they agreed that something was wrong with his complaint. But do you know something, people? Guess what? I was a black man, and black men on Staten Island don't have no rights. So the Association of Skinhead Cops on Staten Island conspired to deprive me of every liberty in every respect afforded to a crime victim and literally falsified my IAB investigations to close out valid investigations against detectives and officers on Staten Island who violated my civil rights and procedure.
I'm like basically just told, someone will call you back. No one ever calls me back. I come in. No one will ever speak to me. The young women in the front usually help me. I think her name's Nicole and Georgette. They've been helping me as far as like going, trying to call legal, trying to get a sergeant because they see what's going on and how many times I've been there. But the officers in the DD unit, the detective squad, they won't help me. And they know this woman has lied on me for the last year. And they've made some mistakes, but no one wants to seem to own it.
Is she your ex-wife, your ex-girlfriend?
Dude, this girl was an ex-girlfriend I dated less than a year.
Okay. And
she's just nuts.
Okay, so she's a little nutty. Has she been locked up for
they claim she was locked up, and on paper she was, but she's never been prosecuted for a violation against me. Literally every time I filed with your precinct, it's gone nowhere. One even being the day she was convicted of the order of protection I have against her, Literally, she takes all of the charges that were dismissed, and she waits 3 days, goes to your precinct, who actually had a warrant against her. She admits it in the transcript of her conviction, how the 120 had a warrant against her. I don't know what happened. This warrant disappeared, and in 3 days, they took a retaliatory report against me and processed me and basically prosecuted me for a year until it was dismissed when I provided that transcript to you, your superiors.
So now when she was locked up, we did our the detectives and
that's what you're about to say. The detectives got arrested. They did their part.
No, I'm just trying to get this straight. So we did our part in arresting her. Now the courts just didn't prosecute her.
You guys did effectuate one arrest against her. Yes. The rest of them, they just completely ignored me. But you guys did effectuate one arrest. Yes.
Okay. And then she wasn't prosecuted. I'm guessing her case was dismissed, or I guess
declined to prosecute. Yeah, she's had one violation in the 1, 2, 3, 4 from you guys. Everyone is either not called or declined to prosecute. As a matter of fact, the one they declined to prosecute, I actually filed in the 120 precinct back in January. I was finally called by Detective Formicelli in October. I filed a complaint a couple of weeks ago.
People, audience, you hear that? I filed a complaint for a false report that Francyna Evins filed in January. I was not called for that complaint until October, people. And the only reason I was called is because the lawsuit was filed and there was so much civil litigation in it that the NYPD had to call me and investigate the report. They had to. They didn't have a choice. But people, you hear me clearly tell this cop that I filed a complaint in January and I wasn't called to October. People, Francyna Evins filed a complaint on December 5th and I had an iCard on me by December 7th, people, less than 48 hours later. But I'm crazy. I'm wrong. I'm an angry black man, people. I'm making all of this stuff up. January to October, December 5th to December 7th. 48 hours, 8 fucking months. 10 months, excuse me, people. 10 months as opposed to 48 hours. And something's not wrong? Let's continue.
We falsely arrested. I came to the precinct maybe 2 days ago for that report number. There's no record of the report number. So I gave the desk sergeant a copy of the pink BR I had to prove I was there, and Georgette did take a complaint. They could not find the complaint number, which probably means it disappeared like all the other ones I filed against her.
Well, that's definitely, I don't think it disappeared, I'm sure, because, I mean, if it did, that would be a problem, but
this isn't the first time, sir.
Now, you hear him say that would be a problem. To this day, they have never found the complaint. But I have the complaint from the receptionist who works down. I believe she's a civilian in the 120 precinct. Very, very beautiful-hearted woman named Georgette. This woman helped me, took the complaint. These bastards in the DV unit threw the complaint away and then tried to blame this woman and get her in trouble and tried to get me to file charges on her. Why would I file charges on this woman who did her job? I know it's not her. I know it's you. People, they knew my complaints were disappearing, but nothing ever happened. You know why? Because they were trying to protect the ranks of themselves for the racist bastards who had violated my civil rights, which was Joseph Quirk, Detective Matthew DePalma, and Detective Joseph Noto, who falsified the location of my complaint to send it to the 122 so the 120 Domestic Violence Squad would not have to investigate Francyna Evins. I'm going to let you hear that one next.
A couple of times.
What day was that report? Because I can follow up on that.
I don't have a report number, but I'll tell you what.
Oh, no, what day? Do you remember the day? Was it?
The day, yes. It was November 17th.
November 17th.
So I literally got picked up in family court because this woman said that I threatened her outside the family court. And despite the fact that the family court has 22 cameras around the building, Detective DePalma arrested me anyway and never checked the camera footage. So I have two attorneys who started calling the detective squad, like, listen, how did you arrest him? And you have no proof he did it, no camera footage. They said, oh, she made a complaint. We had to arrest him. They said, how? She has multiple complaints against her.
Miss Howe, can you just hold on 1 second? Give me 1 second.
Sure.
Sorry. So
not to take too much of your day, because I know I understand you're investigating it, but I don't have a problem with this guy. I just need them to do their job and allow me to the opportunity to at least help me so she stops coming after me and stops harassing the hell out of me. They're the DV unit. They're supposed to help me if I have a court order, a trial order that says I'm the victim. They're not supposed to discount me like they've been doing.
No, I agree. If you have an order of protection and she violates that order of protection, she should be arrested. But I mean, she violated by calling you, or she's having other people call you.
She called me. Yeah, she called me too. She called me one day about 1:00 in the morning, asked me could she talk. I said hell no. I hung up the phone. I filed with you guys the next day.
Okay.
She wasn't arrested for that.
Okay. All right.
She threatened me in court. She brought her family members to court to try to fight me in open court. Like, this is just so stupid, bro. This is so stupid.
Or that last one was when she called you and you said hell no?
Yeah, that was June sometime. I had a report for it. I got the report numbers. I just don't have them in front of me.
All right. So the last incident was June.
Yeah. The last incident was November 17th when she lied and said that I threatened her in court. But there's always something.
All right. Do you want my sergeant to maybe reach out to you? I mean,
I would love it. I'm about conflict resolution, dude. I get it. You guys got a million reports. I get it. But they can't ignore me if I'm actually the victim that got a trial order that says I'm the victim. If this guy is willing to talk to me, that's all I've asked for months, sir, is that they allow me to come in and show them what is going on so at least them, as the BD unit, can do their job and protect the real victim.
See, people, as you heard, I was the actual domestic violence victim. But the 120 domestic violence squad refused to allow me to come in with the actual proof. People, I had a trial order that named Francyna Evins as a defendant in a harassment order of protection. But no, people, they wouldn't actually even entertain the criminal complaints, despite the fact I had proof of phone calls, proof she was stalking me, numerous reports, and numerous documents that prove she had falsified documents against me. Staten Island locked me out of the judicial process as a victim in order to protect this girl and the reputation of the Richmond County DA's office and the NYPD. Let's continue.
Now,
Horizon won't talk to me. No one will talk to me.
Now, the only thing is, I'm going to double check to see if there's any actual pending cases with you and her. But if there's not, like they really don't reach out unless there's an actual, like, something going on. But I'm going to double check because you're saying the last incident was November 17th and you haven't heard anything, right? So
yeah, I was detained November 17th by De Palma for allegedly threatening her outside the court, and then when I was released that evening at about 5:30, I filed a complaint for the false report. So that was the last day I made a complaint.
All right. So I'm gonna investigate this. I'll have the sergeant or either myself will call you back and we'll reach out so I can get, just an actual answer of what's going on instead of keeping you in the loop or anything like that, and just to actually solve this problem so we just don't have to go forward. You know what I mean? Victim of domestic violence, you have valid order of protection. I definitely get it. And I definitely am understanding toward it, and I absolutely agree. If you have an order of protection and they violate, they should be locked up. I agree with you.
Yeah, because they're locking me up. So I don't, and they lock me up with no proof. They should lock her up if I have proof, and they will not lock her up. They literally ignore it until I call IAB or do something like this. Then something happens. I shouldn't have to do all of that.
No, I agree with you, but like I said, I'm investigating it now, so and I'll definitely try. I'll keep you, posted, and I'll definitely try to call you within sometime by next week, hopefully. With
no problem.
And we can help you out.
No problem. What was your name again?
Lieutenant Del Barro. Dalbero.
Del Barro. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
All right, man. Have a good day.
You too.
Now, people, that was myself, and allow me to correct his name because his name is not Del Barro, it's Del Barro, That was myself and Lieutenant Del Barro telling me that if I'm the victim with complaints, why am I being arrested? People, they knew I had an active order of protection. They knew this woman was stalking me. Let me tell you about Lieutenant Del Barro. He never called me back, people. I never got a phone call back after that conversation, which everyone can hear. Clearly, this man was admitting things were going on that were improper. Why did the NYPD never call me back? Because of the conspiracy within the office of Michael Mcmahon to ignore me as a civilian and deprive me of any legality. That's why Lieutenant Del Barro never called me back. Let's continue. Let's go to this little shithead. Actually, you know what? Yeah, let's do this little shithead Noto first. I hate this little fuckhead, but let's go to Noto first. This is DV Officer Joseph Noto. I'm sorry, I cut the screen share off. Forgive me. Excuse me. So this is DV Officer Joseph Noto. Officer Noto is an officer who falsified the incident location on a complaint I filed against Francyna Evins. So that complaint would be moved from the 120 to the 122 precinct and not be investigated by the DV squad of the 120, which was in Francyna's Evans pockets, thanks to the work and the manipulation of Michael Mcmahon. The 120 refused to service me at all. So what they did was falsify the complaint, the location of my complaint, to send me to another precinct. Now, when this detective from the other precinct called me, guess what happened? He says, if this happened in Stapleton, and I want my audience to see me real quick. So this Joseph Noto falsifies a criminal complaint against me. He falsifies the location, where I reported the offense that my ex-girlfriend did happen. That was the Stapleton post office. What Joseph Noto did was change it to the Staten Island Expressway, which would have put the jurisdiction in the hands of the 122 precinct. So he did this, and maybe a few weeks later, this detective from the 122 precinct calls me. Very cool gentleman, very respectful gentleman. He listens to me. I was shocked, people, that I got a call and it was being investigated. But people, I wasn't so lucky, because when I'm talking to the detective and I told him where I got the phone call at, he says, wait a minute, that's Stapleton. Why are you here? I said, dude, I don't know. This is where they send me. He said, yo, you shouldn't be here. You should be at the 120. Why the hell did they transfer you here? I didn't know. So this detective tells me, you know what? I'm going to call the 120 and I'm going to transfer this complaint back to the 120 because, dude, if you reported you got this phone call in the Stapleton post office, why the hell are they sending you over here? Dude, they can't send you here. They're wrong. So he calls them back and he tells them to open this report. Guess what happened, people? The 120 refused to do it until I got legality involved. And this is Joseph Noto, the piece of shit who falsified the location of my incident so the report would be transferred to the 122 precinct. And I was smart enough to record this piece of shit. Thank God, people.
If this is a non-emergency, such as a...
Wait while I transfer your call.
Hello.
So what were you saying, sir? I'm sorry.
All right. No, I said that stuff has to stop because no one's going to want to deal with you. You call anybody a racist and tell everybody that they're
Dude,
bigots.
I'm black, and I have a final registered order of protection against her. You guys have arrested me multiple times with no evidence I've done anything.
So what Joseph Quirk is saying is that he's offended that I'm calling him a racist, even though he is a fucking racist, people. He's mad. He's offended because I'm telling him that he's racist because this police department is ignoring me as a black man with a final federally protected order of protection against a woman who they are claiming is a victim and who I can prove has filed multiple false police reports on me. Joseph Quirk, instead of doing the right thing, this little racist piece of shit is mad that I'm calling him out for the racism I know that he is exhibiting on me. So he's like, oh, if you keep calling us a racist, we're not going to want to deal with you. Dude, you got an obligation to deal with me. It's the oath you took when you decided to be a fucking police officer. It doesn't matter if I call you a racist, a bitch, a punk, a homo, whatever I choose to call you. Your job is to deal with me as the victim of a crime. You cannot decide not to deal with me simply because, oh, wait, I might be wrong. I might have to minimize this. No, you can't decide not to deal with me because you're mad I'm calling you out on being a racist, even though your actions exhibit racism. This is Joseph Noto, the piece of shit who totally falsified the location of my criminal complaint to protect Francyna Evins and denied me the opportunity to go into the DV unit of the 120 and prove Francyna Evins was lying.
What other reason can it be? I don't want to call you guys racist. But what else is it? I don't know what's going on, Noto. Like, why will you guys not respect my victim rights? I don't get it. I'm not trying to be it has to be a reason.
You're also saying, like, we're not taking reports. Listen, I went out of my way for you. I took a report. I modified the report for you. I changed it to the 120 precinct.
It took them 6 months to call a detective to call me.
Now, you heard him just confess, people. He modified a complaint. He had to modify the complaint because he falsified the location so I would not have to be in the 120 precinct. This is the true depth of the conspiracy between the NYPD and Michael Mcmahon, the Staten Island District Attorney's Office, when they conspired to deprive me of my civil rights. Everything I'm saying, people, as you can hear, I have an extensive amount of evidence to support that the Staten Island District Attorney's Office and the NYPD is highly corrupt and conspired to deprive me of my freedom and any any rights as the legitimate, federally protected victim of a domestic violence dispute between myself and Francyna Evins, my ex-girlfriend who was found guilty in the state of New Jersey for violating the New Jersey Prevention of Domestic Violence Act, harassing me and doing everything she could to lie through her fucking teeth on me. These white men wanted to acknowledge that lie because they needed her lies to falsely prosecute a black man. And this is what they did to me. Sorry, shoot.
He walked in October 20th, lied and said I threatened her in family court. There was CCVT footage. There was 7 court officers. There was 2 attorneys. The 2 attorneys and 3 court officers told the detective squad I did not do it. And I got held 5 hours on Friday for a complaint that they told them before I was arrested I didn't do. No, those
What happened with that?
wrong.
What happened with that case?
They dismissed it because the district attorney knows she's lying. My problem is she is being protected by you, by the let me not say you. The NYPD
please
and
don't.
the district attorney's office of Staten Island is protecting this woman, and it's insane that I would have to sue to get help. You have to be honest. The only thing I've ever asked for is for you guys to help me. I'm not even asking you to arrest her. I'm asking you to make sure she's prosecuted so this stops.
What not the last? I was gonna say.
The last day was the 17th of November.
No.
Unfortunately, I remember.
Yes, I know you. So how come? Why are you guys still in court? What's going on with that?
Because she keeps filing false reports. No, this is crazy, dude. She keeps filing new charges. Whenever a case is dismissed, she goes back and files another charge. She files family court charges on me every week for the same thing. She's fucking crazy. She's beautiful. I know you guys are attracted to her in the precinct. But just because she looks good doesn't mean she's a good person. She's fucking crazy. I have transcript for you guys. If you guys want to see the court transcript so you can read what the judge said, I can provide them. You want to see text messages. You want to hear recordings of her begging me to stay with her, admitting that I was being stalked by her mother. I can provide all of this. I just need you guys to sit down and do the right thing, which is look at the actual victim and go after this girl who is seriously violating. She's making you guys look like fucking idiots, no.
I'm going to stop this here because my live cast is approaching an hour, and it's like too much to split the live cast up into multiple feeds. So this is what we're going to do real quick, audience. We're going to log off. We're going to end this episode, and we're going to log back on, and we're going to make another episode to continue this episode, and I can continue to play this recordings. I believe this is 102. So we're going to end this episode at 102 now, and I'm going to come back with an episode which is 102 part 2. Which is my continuation of this series, so I can break it into sectionable pieces when I decide to make reels out of this and promote them. Because people, I'm quite serious about this. This content is incredibly important, and I feel and I know that it exposes the corruption within the NYPD and the behind the scenes conspiracy that was meant to deprive me of my civil rights for Francyna Evins, a woman who possibly could have been sleeping with Michael Mcmahon and her pastor to obtain these favors, which violated the civil rights of her ex-boyfriend. People, what happened to me on Staten Island exhibits the justice that minorities face every time we encounter the corrupt, racist, biased law enforcement system that is composed of the skinhead detectives and officers on Staten Island and the racist district attorneys and the biased advocates and prosecutors who would sell out their mother for position on Staten Island. People, I wouldn't sell out my mother. My mother was about the truth. She was about the equal rights of everyone, and she damn sure wasn't about lying, people. And Clayton Howard is no liar. So on behalf of Justice and Operation Rock, people, this is the end of episode 102 that exposes the corruption between the NYPD and the Richmond County DA's office. We'll be back in about 5 minutes with part 102, part 2 of the same series. I thank everybody for tuning in, and I hope you log back on in a second simply to see the continuation of this series that I kind of want to get done today. Thank you for listening. I hope you come back soon, and God bless. I got